Yeah, everyone, this is Thermites, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of January 24th, 2021. On the cover, we've got the new series by Yusei Matsui. What was it again? Sorry. The Elusive Samurai. I'm pretty hype. I did reactions to all of Assassination Classroom. They're not on the channel because, Shueisha. But you can check them on my archive. Uh, I have read all of Nagami Nero as well, which is really, really good. Like, I'd say Assassination Classroom is better. It has more thematic consistency. Whereas Nagami Nero is very, like, 90s shonen. Like, there's a lot of power escalation. There's a lot of, like, I'm not totally sure if this gels with the rest of the world, but, this is a pretty cool arc idea. And I still think it holds up. Like, I'd still recommend it. The Elusive Samurai makes me think it's probably going to be a period piece, like, as opposed to a modern-day samurai situation. And I like the effect of, like, the feathers here. I guess this thing's going to be, like, being super-duper fast. Or, at the very least, like, having super high agility. I'm into it, especially if if he doesn't have like armor, but he just kind of fights in robes. I actually do really like that the feathers here are blocking off some of the triangles in this pattern. Like, it is supposed to be a sort of like inverse Triforce situation. I guess that's actually closer to a like radiation warning symbol. But the feathers kind of block off certain triangles at certain angles, and it makes them all look like fast forward symbols, which is that's really dope. Anyways, let's start off with the usual. We've got Black Clover, chapter 279, The Door to Hell. So I guess the Kifaloth is going to, like, start cracking the door open now. Merliona is so good. Right, I kind of forgot about the whole, is a prince of this kingdom situation. Like, I was like, who are these characters? Who am I? But okay. Why do we have this cut here? Like, we've got presumably one of Nokt's devils, right? Like, where we've got his head here, we've got his feet down here, and then we're cutting to the other fights. Or actually, no. Okay, I see you. He's peeking in on the other fights. Like, it is I'm going to canonically try and figure out what the situation is. That's really cool. We still have ample time before the gate to the otherworld opens. Not for that chapter title, you don't. I mean, it could just be while we're fighting, allow me to tell you, or allow us to monologue about how the gate is actually going to work. But I don't specifically because he's shouting out, we have ample time. I mean, that's not a shonen situation. There are very few shonen situations where you're like, oh yeah, we've got plenty of time. This isn't a pressure cooker at all. What is this feeling? Okay, here we go. So Kifaloth roots are stretching out. I wonder where they're stretching to, actually. Like, I assumed they'd be going down, right? Ooh, Union Mode Felice. Not super duper into it. Like, it's more ninja-y than cat-like. But, I'm willing to live with it. Oh, and that's actually such a good way of building it up. Like, we haven't really seen what each of his devils can do, and this is actually a lot better than when Equus was used, where it was just sort of I'm going to do a form change now. This was, like, we did get to see that devil peeking in around everywhere else, and now, now Nox using that power, but on a grander scale because they fused. Like, that's good. That's good writing. Okay, I sense magic beside Yami advantages. Boy, Morris is so important. Like, I thought after the first time he came up as just, like being the explanation for the, like, big slave ship and, having, given them all new bodies. I didn't think he would be this important, though. Like, he's doing so much in this plot. I mean, this also makes me feel like the Dark Triad's probably going to fall in this arc, but then Morris is going to get away. That'd be the best way to, like, continue an ongoing threat without making our heroes feel pathetic. Because he could just, slip off and no one would be able to stop him because they have bigger things to deal with. Whereas, like, if the Dark Triad survived and, won, that'd be really bad. Using the wisdom of the Heart Kingdom, I discovered a way. What? So this is Lolopeshka's, like, room where she can see the, the information for all the previous queens, but how did he get here? Like, they did kidnap her, but how? Like, is he the queen of the Heart Kingdom now? I actually really like this look. Like, with all the other members of the Dark Triad, they're all wearing very dark, very gothic uniforms, or, just outfits. And that's cool in its own way. But I really like Morris's look because he's all white and then just the eyes and the head are, yeah, the contrast is really nice. Ah, through the power of Devil, my magic made possible to extract and transplant even Lola Peshka's wisdom. So, oh, that's really cool. Oh, in that case, this is probably a an array. Like I didn't think about like we've seen other uh like in the Union Room where Asta was training. We saw other stuff that looked kind of runic like this, so I thought this was just like, part of the devil ceremony. But maybe he's like set up a Heart Kingdom style array, but it's combined with like demon runes in order to do this. Ah, yeah. Here we go. I mean, do they just snipe him, or are we doing it? Like, our devil's just coming out now. Actually, is this Vonica and the other one? Because they are a male-female pair. I mean, they don't like the big arms and like the way the horns are. Like, yeah, that doesn't look at all like their previous Devil Union forms, though. Oh, and I really like the symmetry. Like, I have such a weakness for twin characters that are like clearly meant to be used in a pair. Ah, it's so cool. And you got the like more batty wings here and the more angel-y wings here. Ah, I love them. Those two, they're devils of the highest order. Hmm. Oh boy. And I mean, we still have like, even though he is saying that, it makes sense as just a like, the devils I've contracted with are, the kind where I could subdue them. Whereas they are, they're on another level. They're probably on the same level as the word devil. Yeah, because Word Devil was also relatively high up in like the rings, right? Like I think we were told in this arc that, as you go further and further down into hell, you get worse and worse and and more powerful. Like same with Liba. Like Liba was just kind of like chucked into the human world. So presumably he was also on like the closest ring to Earth. I'm so excited. Like, are they gonna just have to fight them as devils? I guess so, but like presumably. I think this is going to be way more like the word devil fights. But if that's the case, like Jesus. Because the word devil fight was so long and so hard. If these two are anything like him, it's going to be hell. On top of, the Dark Triad, and on top of everything else going on here. The only hope I can think of is that maybe Noct knows of like better ways to deal with demons. Like we have anti-magic, we got darkness magic. That's kinda it. But if he knows, like, if he's made contracts with 4 different devils, like maybe he just knows a better way of subduing them even. Like, nothing too chunky here. It was just kind of hype, which I'm down with. Next, we have Our Blood Oath, Chapter 18, Beyond Blood. So I was spoiled on my Discord server that this is the final chapter, and I'm willing to accept like chapter endings as like it's a spoiler quote unquote, and it might be fun to see me react to this sudden like realization of wait, was that the final chapter? But I'm not too crusty about it. I like knowing when series are ending, so I can both like read the ending and make come up with my final thoughts about it. Slash, it lets me get really hyped for the next series of jump starts. Still, this is such a weird place to end it. Like even if we don't think about Kaina's, actually, I guess, because we have Kaina who made a little girl eat her best friends, which is unforgivable. But then we also have like it is the cycle of violence. It is the like this person has been extremely oppressed, has gone through a lot, and now they're taking out on other people who don't deserve it. Like what conclusion can you come to in just one chapter about that? I feel like it's got to just be a we have to forgive each other and do our best. Like I can't think of anything else that would not just work as a message, but also work as like something that thematically fits with the whole series. Like, we can't do humans and vampires are all friends now. We don't have time for that. Okay, so he's back. Oh, right. In the last chapter, we did end it off on the, like, oh, he's not willing to forgive Kaina, but he has some growing to do. But it can't be a, I matured as a person just now. So I think we have to be going with, he was mature, and he can't forgive Kaina, but there is something else he had to do. Like, the brothers left for a reason. I don't know what it would be. Also, they've spent 3 days doing this. So, what could we be going for? Because, yeah, like, presumably they don't want him to die, but they're right on the brink. So he actually did smash out. But okay, he hasn't completely started changing. Like, he doesn't have the whole spirally, noodly thing going on. But he's looking really feral. We weren't the only ones who were hurt. Me and my brother hurt you guys too, so we're also sorry. But the one who was hurt the most for no reason. Oh my god. So that's what we're doing. So they spent these 3 days, like, talking to her and convincing her to come here. Yeah, the eyes what really gets me. Like the horn in the ear, like I really like how changed she is because it is a like, she didn't she has been transforming. This is something that cannot be undone. Like she's always going to be like this. But it isn't a like there's still enough of her to look at her and go, yeah, this is a little girl. It is the worst of both worlds. I mean, holy crap. Again, like if you have to write a final chapter, this is pretty perfect. Like she is the one who is going to save him from becoming a vampiric beast. It is the absolute in like not doing eye for an eye. Because I know how much pain you're in. God damn. That is such a strong way to teach him a lesson. Yeah, this works. Like this does work. It's the kind of thing where like I mean we still have a few more pages to go, but I want to see what happens next. This is a really good arc concept. But oh man. I mean, I'm also just a sucker for the absurdly good move. For the like we are going to do this in the best way possible. And I do think like in order to do that, to facilitate that in a lot of series, you do need to have characters who will do the immoral things. Like if the brothers themselves locked kind of in their basement for 3 days, that'd be like I would have a very different opinion of them. Whereas their uncle doing it is fine to me because he is harsher and because like it was also very clear that he didn't really want to do it or like that he thought that they would both refuse. It's a really cool way of like creating an ending where I don't dislike any of the good guys, which is more than I can say for a lot of series. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've read a series that had a straight up like there's no bones about it. This is definitely not where we're supposed to end. And also, we're not going to try and speed this up into being more of a climax. Like, yeah. It is the story continues ending, but it's not a, watch out for a one-shot and jump plus style ending. It is a very clear, like, this is just where we're leaving the characters. It is a good emotional end. Like, overall, I probably wouldn't recommend Our Blood Oath. It's like there's not a whole lot of it that's distinctive, but at the same time, like I think I will remember this arc for just being a really good shonen arc. Like it is a strong thematic talk about, breaking the cycle of violence. And I understand how that is, an annoying thing sometimes. It's annoying if you take into the direction of if someone hurts you, you gotta not hurt them. I think part of why this works is because Kaina is hurt. Like, it is we made him walk a mile in her shoes, and she was the one who, stopped him from going all the way into being a vampiric beast. It is completely possible that, like, this was almost an eye for an eye. Like, having it be 99% of the way there is the best way to have your cake and eat it too with this. Because it is the kind ending, but it is also the, like, we did torture you for 3 days. Honestly, I'm a lot happier with this than if they had tried to go for a let's wrap up every last plot point ending. Or a like, let's do a thematic, like, this is how we repair the bonds between humans and vampires. This is a very imperfect end, but it works. Like, it is just, a big climactic story in their lives. And, you know what? I'm here for it. I hope Kaku Kakuzu has better luck with another series at some points. They have strengths. It's just, they need some time to, like, brush up and polish what they're doing. Like, this was never a series where I truly loved it. But, it's been a series where there's a lot of promise there. It's definitely the kind of thing where if I read this, I would offer him, the chance to do a one-shot or to do a series in some other magazine. It's good. I will give it the honor of beating Black Clover this week. Like, the Black Clover chapter was good, but it was also just kind of hype. Whereas I do, like, if this is the end to Our Blood Oath, which it is, then I'm fine with it. Like, I also think it's more impactful that this wasn't the intended final arc. Because if it was, I would think, like, this is pretty underwhelming. This was this is where it was all going. But knowing that this was definitely canceled does make me like it more. It's a weird thing that you can only do in serial media. Or like serial media that isn't done in seasons, or that doesn't have a set endpoint. Something that can be canceled. Alright, next we've got Sakamoto Days, Chapter 8. Mind reading is useless against someone who doesn't think. Also, they're definitely going to be found out, right? Like, this is a different part of the coaster, right? Like, I don't see Sakamoto on it. But there's no way they're not being seen. Oh no, don't you dare dunk on Sakamoto. Fear of death dulls your ability to make instantaneous decisions. So it is the, like, I'm really strong because I don't really care, versus a bunch of people who do care, and then on the other end altogether, you have Sakamoto, who wants to live for his family and just have a normal life. And he is as far as you can get from, I don't care about life and I just want to die or kill. Okay, what's the plan here? I wonder if Shin can, like, we know he has to focus in on thoughts in order to hear them. I wonder if he could use that as a form of, like, tracking someone with their voice, but instead you're tracking them with their thoughts. I guess it wouldn't really work in this case, though, because we know this guy doesn't really think. Is he using the momentum of the roller coaster to, like, do a big throw or something? Or is this just we're moving to a different arena for combats? So he's fixating on popcorn, so good. For what purpose? Oh, it's a stage show! I love it. I am a sucker for the classic, real fight during a stage show. Oh my god, I can't believe it's not Sakamoto in the uniform. Or, like, in the bunny costume. The moment we saw it last chapter, I assumed, like, Sakamoto's gotta be in this thing. Though, to be fair, it is very baggy. So we could have both of them in different costumes at some points during this arc. But okay, what is the plan here? Like, the popcorn makes sense as he was homing in on this location, but why? Like, is it just so he can hide himself visually? Because, yeah, he is also next to a bunch of kids. It's Sugar's Rabbit Punch! Huh. How can he move like that? Maybe it's all the thoughts. Like, maybe it is a general consensus fighting style. Like, he can simultaneously hear everyone saying, oh no, the bad guy's doing this, and also, Sugar, you should do an uppercut. Oh, Sakamoto and the family are here! Oh! Okay, so Sakamoto is the one giving him instructions. That's really cool! Yeah, that's perfect, because that is also a way to show off Sakamoto's fighting ability without having to have him get into a fight at all. Oh, the announcer's so good! Oh, that's such a dope fight! Alright, that was a good Sakamoto. I still have to put it under our blood oath, though. Was it better than Black Clover? Yeah. This was just a, like, gear shift chapter. Those are never things I'm super into. But alright, so that is it for the pre-recordeds. Let's slip right into that live stream. Yeah, I did. I literally just did it because I kind of forgot to do the pre-recordeds yesterday. But yeah, I finished our blood oath. I should probably close the Sakamoto Days tab before I spoil someone. But yeah, please check out the pre-recordeds if you want to watch that reaction. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. That yes, our blood oath did. That was chapter 18. It's in the U19 club. I love how in every single edit, without question, Oleg Galazzo is here, because that is just this guy, I believe, right? Like, I'm pretty sure this is just, like, the joke here originally was just that this guy in the U19 club looks a lot like the main character of Oleg Galazzo. This is such a beautiful tradition. I'm so happy. Sometimes the English Shonen Jump fan base is good. Sometimes. Yeah, because they're always really good looking. Well, always. Sometimes there's a crummy one, but usually, like, if there's a thread where people are dunking on a series for being a U19 series, like, a edit that looks really good ends up in there. Yeah, I mean, I will say, I definitely enjoyed Bone Collection more so than our Blood Oath. But I still thought it was good. Like, I think this final chapter of our Blood Oath was really good for a, like, the series is getting canned chapter because it wasn't a like let's cram in a finale chapter. It was more thematic. It was more just we're going to finish this current arc and then like just by nature of the series having good arcs that are all like, suited to the theme of human vampire relations, it was also a good ending. It is the kind of ending I'll think about for a bit. But that said, I would not recommend it. Like, if anyone here has not read Our Blood Oath, I would not say go read the whole thing now. It's just okay. Anyways, I'm really curious about this series, The Elusive Samurai, because I guess I'll include this in the Elusive Samurai area. The Elusive Samurai, Chapter 1. Oh, homie, do you have some good marketing that I could use? But anyways, I really, really like. It looks like it's going to be a period piece. It could just be, someone who wears like, period clothing and they act like a samurai, but they're in the present day. But I don't think so, and I'm pretty excited. Like, I'm not a big fan of Japanese period pieces. I find that they tend to go very ham on tons and tons of characters, and that's usually not my vibe. But then again, like Assassination Classroom had tons and tons of characters, and that worked out really, really well. And Nogami Nero didn't have tons, but it was a really good like in the era of wacky shonen escalation. It did wacky shonen escalation in a way I really, really liked. So I have faith that Yusei Matsui is going to pull out something really good. Ooh. Anyone that posts the ranking before the author comments gets banned. I'm willing to pull this out. I think that works. That means that you have to get to the author comments if you want to agree or disagree with the ranking of a series. I'll say that specifically. Like, if you just want to say you don't like it or you like it, that's fine. But if you disagree with my ranking specifically, you have to make your appeal during author comments. Also, Gamu, I feel like I see a lot of peacock imagery in Japanese stuff. Like even the one so no, that's not the one so. Which mahjong tile has the peacock on it?
The one, so.
Yeah, it's the one so. I nailed it. Yeah, like it's got the big peacock feathers. I don't know if there are peacocks that are native to Japan, but it might be imagery like from China, perhaps. I've definitely seen lots of art with the peacock feathers.
Now, see, you wouldn't have this problem if we still had the emotes for every single mahjong tile on the server.
No, it's not worth it. Anyways, the one thing I want to bring up, which I already brought up during the pre-recorded as well, but I want to just double down on it. I really love the effect here of like he's got this pinwheel design on his robes, but then the peacock feathers cover up some of the triangles and make them look like fast forward symbols. That's a really cool idea. Okay, that's it. Let's actually jump into the chapter. Valorous death in combats, noble suicide. For a warrior, honor is battle and death. That boy became a hero by running away and lived to become a legend. Okay. The Elusive Samurai, Chapter 1, The Slaughter of 1333, by Yusei Matsui. I mean, this is immediately a really cool idea for a main character. Like, not just in a, like, I assume part of this is the Joseph Joestar run away in order to gain an advantage. But I think just the general premise of saying my main character is elusive, like he runs away, and through running away, he is a hero. Like, that's such a dope concept. It actually reminds me a lot of the very start of Assassination Classroom, where they do the hard contrast of, every day we wait for our teacher to come, and then Sensei comes in and tries to do attendance, and they all pull out guns and try to kill him. Like, it's the hard contrast. Oh, you know what? Like, with this imagery, I just realized these aren't supposed to be peacock feathers. These are phoenix feathers. Of course, Osamu Tezuka's classic Phoenix, as well as other like Japanese Phoenix imagery, seems to really like doing the peacock feathers on phoenixes. So I think that's got to be it. It's the because he keeps on evading death, he is like a phoenix which dies and comes back. This looks so good. Oh right, Suzaku. I keep on forgetting about them. I can't think about the Four Heavenly Kings without remembering that I genuinely believed that the PlayStation controller was based on the Four Heavenly Kings, because they bring it up in Forza, and Forza's symbols are the same as the PlayStation controller buttons. It has It is like the fun fact I know, and I watched Digimon. I know the Four Heavenly King Digimon. Those were probably my first introduction to the concept. But the only thing I can ever think of is, yeah, like the PlayStation buttons. Also, this is actually a very different pattern. Like on the cover, he had the almost radiation symbol triangles, whereas these are just Triforces. Hojo Takatoki, regent of the Kamakura Shogunates. He's not looking too good. Oh boy, this is definitely going to be one where I'll have to write a character list. The hero Ashikaga Takakuji is the foremost character at the start of the Nanbokucho period of Japanese history. However, he is not the hero of the story. Yeah. I'm going to be butchering a lot of these. You're going to have to just grit and bear it for a bit. Like, I'm not doing it intentionally. I will figure out the names, but boy. Period piece names. I was the proofreader on a period piece called Rari, which is very good. Would recommend. One of the big hangups was the fact that I kept on looking at these Japanese names and I couldn't keep them straight. God, that eyebrow design is really strong. Oh, I wish I could do that. It's so good. As usual, you're good at playing hide from the demon, young lord. Of course, if the Promised Neverland duo stop doing Promised Neverland chapters for, a few weeks, we gotta have a different series that also does the Onigoko and Shonen Jump. Okay, so he's heading off, which means either he's going to, this is either going to be, this is where he cements his name in history, or he's gonna die, or maybe both. If that is, that is the Hojo clan, seal. I wonder if he shifts from this one to the design we saw on the cover at some point. Whether it is he changes clans or he's adopted by someone else. Are they the same age? Man, she looks so much older than him. I think it's the face. It's the fact that her face is physically smaller, especially her eyes. She definitely looks like she's supposed to be, in her 20s and he's, 8. I mean, to be fair, it's probably supposed to be a political marriage situation. Or actually, no. It's probably supposed to be she's hitting on him in hopes that when he grows up, he'll marry her. He's being the elusive samurai. This is a really cool way to establish how slippery he is. And yeah, it's also such a hard contrast between, this is the person that everyone would look at and say, this is the hero. This is the good guy. And then we have this, slippery noble. I think that also really works. The fact that he is highborn, the fact that he is supposed to just sort of casually inherit a bunch of power, and then he's also super slippery. I can understand why you would look at him and go, I don't look up to this guy. He sucks. While he may be successor to the shogunate, as you say, he'll be a mere puppet like his father. Oh man. Okay, yeah, so that was his father here. Man. Yusei is going really hard on how useless he is. Is he being poisoned? This feels like a step beyond just being incompetent. This also feels like, if it wasn't for the speech bubbles, this feels like it could be very mimetic. It is the, the two devils on my shoulder telling me to play pachinko, and then me. It has that energy to it. Did it go black? I didn't alt-tab. Yeah, everything is normal. Try refreshing it, if it's still being bad. Because the screen should be okay. I didn't do anything. And you know what? You're right, actually. This does remind me of the headmasters, brainwashing kids, and then the kids just being these weird, drooly zombies that are extremely competent. So she is just a gold digger. A gold digger going after a child. I mean, I like it, though, because we know she's not going to succeed. If he's slippery enough, he's not going to get, married against his will. In valor, breeding, lineage, and fame, he's all that a warrior should be. No samurai in Kamakura could have compared to Ashikaga Takauji. The young noble who appeared weak-willed and unfit to be a warrior was Hojo Tokiyuki. His name may be mentioned briefly in textbooks, but everyone forgets it after the tests. That is such a good way of describing him. Because that also means that, we're setting this up not for he is going to be the king of the pirates. He's not, we're not doing he is the the top dog that everyone will know and love at the end of the series. It is he is the elusive samurai. He is going to be slippery, and he's going to do something really big, presumably. Like, he's going to be vitally important, but not so vitally important that we would think of him as being vitally important in the future. He would come to provoke a storm in this turbulent time. He was as vibrant as a shonen manga hero. Okay, you're getting a little hard there. For what purpose? Like, this one is the most buck wild. He was hiding in an armor storage box for 2 days. That's a heavy commitment to not wanting to do anything, I guess. It's not like he's goofing off to play. He was just hiding in a box for 2 days. Ah, and I actually really like that. Like, he understands that everyone's dunking on him, but he's also, like, he's seen his father. He knows his father's a puppet. He knows that's his destiny. Why would he need the power of pen and sword? Like, what is the point of, like, good grooming if you're going to not use any of it? Ah, he's got the heart of someone who would actually do good things for the population. Which could also be where we're going. Like, if this is going to be a, like, I guess the question is whether he's going to grow up a lot. Like, on the cover of Jump, he looked like this. So I assume most of the series is going to take place when he's a kid. But we could do he's too competent, and his father's advisors are scared that if he becomes the Shogun, he might actually try to do things. You aren't lazy or cowardly. Those are merely aspects of the monster asleep within you. That's what father says. Oh boy, daddy incoming. Oh boy, that's a big daddy face. Oh boy, this is the face of a villain. Or, if not a villain, a terrifying being. The difference being that, I could see the series going with either he's actually a bad guy, or with he's going to, our main character can't evade him, therefore he's going to be a bad guy in the sense that he's going to make him do things, or go to school, or study. Yeah, you're right. This is not Matsu going full hardcore villain. I've been here all... Has he? Do we get a shot of him up here? I don't think so. I mean, that doesn't mean he's not up here. But it's also possible that he could have just climbed up. That's a bright shine you got. Oops, sorry, I was born sacred, so my holiness seeps out. So that is within that is canonical. He does shine with holy lights. I mean, does that mean he's a good guy? I've played enough JRPGs to know that God is not always good. But at the same time, there is holy light coming out of his body. Also, I mean, I kind of skipped over this part, but those are merely aspects of the monster asleep within you. That definitely gives me a very, how do I put it? Like, the monster within you is such a strong statement. It feels like we're going for a... the box, I keep on thinking about him hiding in the box. It's the smallest thing, but it feels so, intentional to me. It feels like, we're going to get context for that later on in the series. As it's not just that he likes the people, and that he doesn't, that he's disillusioned with becoming a noble. There's gotta be something else there. Maybe he does have, this spirit of a ninja within him, metaphorically. Maybe he would just be really good at hiding out in places and, striking people in the back and slipping out. She's skilled at secret arts and clerical work. I mean, they automatically seem like they're going to be very important. So, can he see the future? I mean, he already gives off a very unreliable energy, so whether or not he can see the future, I don't know if that's going to be game-breaking or not. He... That's less like the Mangekyo and more like the Sage Mode eyes. He's absorbed too much nature chakra. You will beep and beep to become beep. Furthermore, I'm going to assume that even if anything is scribbled out here, let's see, are these actual words that I can decipher? Because that would be such an insane translation job if in the original Japanese, there were actual kanji scribbled out, and then in this version they also had to, typeset it and then scribble it out. Yeah, I'm assuming those aren't actual words that you can figure out. Yeah, definitely not. There's no way. Yeah, it does have that grifter energy of, I'm going to just mumble parts of it and hope that you accept the whole thing. Like, I'm saying a lot specifically, but you're not hearing most of it. So I'm hoping you fill in the blanks here. This face is way too whack. Can this be the face of a villain? Also, it's been so long since I've seen Matsui Sensei's reaction faces in general. Like, oh, look at that bulgy eye. Look at this big mouth. Look at him coming out of the side of this head. Oh, it's so good. In comedy duos, there's a straight man and a funny man, and you're more of a straight man. Now that feels like a real prediction. Furthermore, I saw the future 2 years from now. When you are 10 years old, you will be a hero who shakes heaven. As the Lord of War, some will fear you and others revere you. Thus, you shall enter the destiny of, or alter the destiny of Japan. Now that's extremely straightforward. And plus, 2 years it's a lot. That could be the end of the series, or it could be something where we time skip to it. I mean, that works as both a, I don't trust you, but also, this is way too heavy. Like, this feels like responsibility. I'm gonna slip away from this one. But he called me a hero and looked at me so seriously. I mean, I feel like he's got to have actual powers. It could also just be he goes to the towns, he prays over them, he is, collecting information, and he can just generally predict that this is the way the war is going to go. But I'm going to bank on him actually having powers. That is a good point. Openly avoiding what we don't like to do is in our blood. Oh my god. That's a really good smash cut. 1 month later, Tokiyuki's brother Kunitoni was beheaded, and his father, Takatoki, committed suicide. God damn. That's such a hard cut. Also, the contrast between the way his dad usually looks, like the completely brain dead look, and then him committing suicide is so hard. Oof. God damn, Kyoko did not. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, did the hero betray them? God damn. Hear a voice. Whose voice is that? Who will raise me to be ruler of all? Boy. His eyebrows are far too cooled for him to be a good guy. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well. Like, we had the buildup of he's the obvious hero. This, highborn dope is not, who would think of him as a hero? The best way to do that would be to have them switch places. I mean, this also seems like it's going to just be the fall of the Hojo clan in general. I mean, yeah, it would have to be, because he lost everything. This makes me really happy that we have, Skype and cell phones and stuff. Because I imagine this was definitely more of a danger back in the day where you couldn't, it's not that we have eliminated betrayal in the year of our Lord 2021. But I feel like it's a little harder, as opposed to here, where presumably he went up against the Emperor, and then they just said, hey, you know what, let's team up. I'm just gonna head back. I would say hold back on any actual historical facts. Because there's also the possibility that I'm going to have a big brain blast at some point where I do remember, oh, this happened in one of the other historical series I've read. I mean, that is the danger of historical fiction in general, in that, I assume people are supposed to, be reading this with some idea of the history of the Hojo clan. And then I have to ask myself the question of, should I have the additional information that the mangaka would probably assume I have, or should I go into it completely blind? It changes it, and I don't know if that's better or worse. I'd say it's probably just different. Okay, you know what? Tell me. I will flip-flop on a dime. Now, where is our boy in this, in all of this? Has he found refuge somewhere? Are there still loyalists? Because he can't, during this time skip, it seems like he's just kind of, standing outside while this all happens, while history happens around him. But there's no way that's realistically happening, right? Chad 3-year-old is also really strong. I wonder if we're going to get a fight scene at some point between a 10-year-old and at that point, I guess it'd be a 5-year-old. Okay, the Hojo clan does end during the Sengoku period. So at the very least, yeah, that's fine. Because that's still pretty open-ended as to what happens here. Whether it is our main character reestablishes the Hojo clan, or if it's, someone else in his family that isn't dead. And okay, so, over 800 members of the Hojo clan and its followers gathered in a temple and committed bloody suicide. Which is a strong, this is, for all intents and purposes, within the series, kind of the end of the Hojo clan. But that is also a, like, these were 800 people who willingly chose to do this. So any loyalists that are still out there don't need a reason for how they, escaped the bloodshed. It is a, like, most of them died. Most of them killed themselves. At the end, your father said he could not bear the thought of you dying, so he commanded me to help you escape. See, even then, is that true? Or is he just saying that because he knows that, that'll appeal to a small child? I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, I do think one of the big strengths of Ass Class is how relatively, like, deathless it is. Like, not that it is deathless, but that it is pretty damn deathless. I mean, that is the contrast of assassination and classroom, of learning how to kill and, not becoming a murderer. Okay, so he's going to Tesua. Because now the question is, like, what will he do from here? Like, are we going to do 2 years of him training until he is 10 years old and he can command an army? Or, like, are we going to do stuff in between? Oh, boy. If you die, what would become of Japan? What would happen? Well, I sense it would, and not necessarily. If it would be catastrophic, or would they, too? Like, it'd be a bit without you. It's such a good gag. I love it. Like, the tonal balance between everyone you know and love is dead and everything that you ever cared about is up in flames. And also, I'm gonna do this mumbly goof. It's so strong. I love it. Yeah, like, realistically, why did he do this? Like, is it as simple as the Emperor flipping him? Did he decide that there was no chance of success and so he wanted to be on the winning side? Like, was he faking, or was he completely genuine in that moment? This smile, too, could be nothing more than another deception. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, I don't think the pacing is that bad. I do think it's necessary in order to in order to not have multiple arcs within the start of the series. Like, it's the constant struggle of how do you give the main character something to fight for, or, a big traumatic, event in his life that we also believe is traumatic, without, spending tons and tons of time on that. I mean, it's really tough. And I think, the answer that I've come to personally is you probably shouldn't do something that big in chapter 1, just because, like, it's hard to really make the echoes ripple like that. Especially in a series like this where you do have to, like, set up this entire town and then destroy the whole thing. As opposed to, like, a more modern series where you can just say, hey, they live in Tokyo. Okay, also Tokyo got bombed. Plus, to be fair, like, this isn't necessarily the end of his backstory. Or, like, we could always flash back to, the prime of the Hojo clan. In fact, I imagine we're probably going to have to if we're going to, like, explore the question of why Lord Takeuchi decided to change sides. His daughter is so unwilling to go along with his plans. Also, that's a pretty strong, like, knowledge drop for someone who doesn't go to class ever. The other day, you were spewing nonsense about me becoming a hero, but future generations will only apply that word to someone strong like Ashikaga Takeuchi. It is a disgrace for the defeated not to die, so let me die like a warrior along with everyone else. Okay! Okay! Now, is this betrayal? I mean, this could be betrayal, or this could be the classic shonen, I threw you into a lake when you don't know how to swim in order to, awaken your true strength. Can he evade in midair? In the depths of despair and thrust into the abyss of death. That's pretty cool. I mean, especially from Assassination Classroom, like, Matsu Sensei knows how to draw after images. Like, he knows how to do a kinetic sequence of events where you see the person moving and you feel, the speed of the moving. You feel the logic of how they are moving. I mean, he also does, Core Sensei sometimes, where it is just, hey, here's a bunch of illusions and I have no idea how this is happening. But I think this is good. Like, I'm really happy that for a series that seems to be like it's going to be very agility focused, that I can rely on the art to be more like Assassination Classroom and less like Dr. Stone. I can tell what's going on. He has such a light blush. That is the place within you where a hero shines. As he jumps back up. Like, I think also I've been growing to appreciate, how do I put this? There is a series on my channel that has not been updated in years called Chapter Ones, in which I read the first chapter of a bunch of different series, and that was under the premise that every series should have a chapter one that is like a one shot, one that is you read the first chapter and you go, I love this, I'm going to keep on reading this forever. But I've grown to appreciate series that have not bad first chapters, but first chapters where they kind of just have to do some things. And then the rest of the series gets to breathe more because the first chapter is the one that really, took a big hit. I'd say the best way to balance it is actually like a chapter one that works as a one shot, and then a chapter two that does all the heavy lifting. Oh man, I haven't read Kingdom at all, but you're right. I imagine that's definitely gonna like that's so obvious now. The last period piece that I think I can remember writing in Jump was what did that be? Isobe Monogatari? I feel like we had something in between there. But Isobe was also like it was more Gintama-esque in terms of being a period piece. Whereas this is actually trying to be, a series that takes place in historical Japan. I do really like that though. Like it's so monstrous that like not without thinking, but without any prior help, without any without any planning, he was able to take them all out and escape. It's so good. You said you wanted to die, and yet you jumped out of there to save your skin. That was the hero in you. Like this also has that very like, clashing ideals vibe of Assassination Classroom. It is the like wanting to save your own skin is not an impediment to you being a hero. That is legitimately what makes you a hero. Your survival instinct is monstrous. You have an unmatched talent for staying alive, and you thrill at walking the line between life and death. Like the visual of not just him, but the priest he's on, dodging all of these arrows in mid-conversation is so good. Because yeah, this is also like this solves the question most series have of, well, why is this one person, the person who can win the war, or the one who can do this or that if they don't have a cheat code level power? Like, this is a cheat code level power, but it's one that also is so different from any other hero of the day. Like, in an age of, like, of straightforward combats, there is someone who you can't, who you can't truly kill. Someone who is going to weave through all your attacks and then run away and then make you fight him again and again and again. Takayuji killed to become a hero, but you will live to become a hero. You are heroes with opposite fates. It's so poetic. Yeah. Like, I think what I was struggling with over, like, once the box thing came up, like, or not the box thing, but specifically the phrasing of, where was it? Those are merely aspects of the monster asleep within you. Like, I thought Yusei Matsui did a really good job with Nagisa of the monster within him, in that it never felt like a superpowered evil side or anything. It was something that was very consistent with his character throughout the whole series, and like we slowly built up why that would be the case, and it was never a like it ultimately came from trauma, and it wasn't the hinge upon which the entire series revolved. It was just his backstory. I love it so much. Like the whole thing with his mom and like it's so good. Like I'm definitely getting those vibes already from him. Like the idea that he has this like from his family, both genetically and in terms of, just being in being in situations where he could run away and escape without truly being punished for it. Like he has cultivated this ungodly ability to escape. Yeah, you're right. I kind of forgot about Kimetsu no Yaiba. But yeah, like, the fact that the first chapter is 1333 is so strong. It is such a, by the way, this is not the Sengoku period. I know you looked at a series that, like, I looked at this, and I went, I didn't say it out loud, but my automatic assumption was, okay, it's a Sengoku period piece. I only said period piece, but that was my immediate assumption. And yeah, like, there's always the question of, in a period piece, like, are you going to do the big divergence? Like, you're diverging anyways, by virtue of this not being a documentary. Like, you have to at least fill in things. Oh no, is your name doing the thing? You might have to give yourself a nickname. Like, even if it's a tiny little change in your name. This is the official Discord plugin for OBS, and it's bad. Like, it just broke one day. It seems like it's okay in the recording, though. which is weird. Like last week seems fine. But yeah, just give yourself a nickname and that should fix it. If it doesn't, I'll also I'm willing to give everyone who usually shows up to the streams a role if you don't already have one. And then at the very least, if your name does the thing, you'll at least have like a color that makes it clear who you are. It's so bad. Sorry, I should get back to the chapter. Before I do that, I just have to say this plugin is so bad. And I've been looking for a third party one. I can't find one, which is really weird. Like, legitimately, if anyone comes across one that I haven't seen yet, do let me know and I'll give it a try. Because, like, at the very least, I'd like it to come down. There's so much negative space between my reaction cam and the chat that I would like to fill up with just more chat so you can see more of it. And so, if you're watching the video, you can actually follow the discussion a bit better. So I assume these are going to be the rest of the cast at some point. Comrades, military might, wisdom. I will provide these so that you may win. So we are bringing it full circle. This is the new Promised Neverland. This is the Onigoko series in Jump. Also, I can't get over the in-universe holy light blasting out of him. Like, this is 10 times better because I know this is what they actually look like. I mean, I'm sure he has some sort of, like, a 5D chess plan. It might be as simple as he knows the future and he knows this is how it's supposed to go. Now, are we leaving it on the note of, I've awakened to the joy of life and I'll continue to live? Or are we going to turn it back down to a, by the way, I'll also get revenge for my family? Just as Yorishige prophesied, in 2 years, Tokiyuki would shake all of Japan. In an age where honorable death was common, this boy outraced all that befell him and tried to defeat its ruler. Thus began the tumultuous life of the elusive samurai prince. Now they are almost certainly, this is definitely a phoenix. So they are now following the phoenix. And that also works as he is presumably going to be the rebirth of the Hojo clan. He is also the one not that he can't die, but he doesn't die. He keeps on coming back. This chapter is a very good, it's really good at selling, the premise of the series, which is all I can really ask for at this point. It feels like we're, not that we're going to do a time skip. Like, the fact that we saw his presumably other child soldier friends means I think we're going to definitely be doing a year or two of he meets those people, he learns how to deal with them, he, lead some troops on a few skirmishes in order to improve his abilities and to understand that he is in fact, leading people to their deaths and saving people. Rondom, I'm not going to look at your spoiler tag, but just from the phrasing of your sentence, I mean, if there's a Yorishige Fua and Asua in Japanese history, but then there's something spoiled, it has to be either that he existed before this point and he's too young, or he existed after this point and he may have isekai'd himself back here. But yeah, I think it is it's part and parcel of a period piece series. You have to establish not just the setting, but also there's more establishment that has to get done. Whereas S-Class was both it did a really good job of establishing the concept of the series, and also by virtue of it being more mysterious, we didn't have to do an explanation of how did Koro Sensei end up this way, where did he come from. It was a very clean this happened, this is why he's here, we gotta kill him. It might be one of my favorite chapter ones of all time. It is so perfect, and it does encapsulate the whole series. And you can go back to it when you're done the series and read it again. It's still good. Whereas I imagine, this still feels strong, but it feels more like a, this is establishing everything. I don't know if I'll ever go back to this and say, oh wow, this is really surprising. Here's a thing I didn't really think about before. It's very straightforward as to what it is trying to sell. I just hope that the rest of the series then, follows up on that. Now, next to everything else, where do I put this? My current ranking right now is, let me center this. Our Blood Oath at the very top, then Sakamoto Days, then Black Clover. For a first chapter, I feel like I gotta put it above Sakamoto Days, below Our Blood Oath. It's fine as a first chapter, but it didn't really wow me. The things that wowed me the most were, the Phoenix imagery looks really good. The feeling of kinetic energy is really strong. Yeah, it really is just all the, not even Phoenix imagery, but the feather imagery that I really like. But nothing else really stands out to me visually. Like the art's all good, and I do like Yorishige's face. He does remind me a little of like Koro Sensei mixed with Nogami Nero. Like he's got the very humanoid evil look of Nero, but he has the more nurturing side that Koro Sensei has. And the mysterious, like, I don't really know your deal, but at the same time, I feel like we can trust you. Yeah. I mean, also, I'm just curious to see what kind of series this is. Like, Ass Class is primarily a slice of life, like, comedy series. It has a lot of action in it, but a lot, like, most of it is more about, like, developing the class and the class learning stuff. And by the time you get to the action arcs, I would say even the action arcs aren't really, like, they are battle shonen, but it is less of a, like, here's the next big person you have to fight, and more of a, this is how much the class has grown, slash, this is, a barrier the class needs to overcome in the moment. It's usually about, their growth. Like, the assassinations are the classroom. Whereas this feels like it's going to be more of a, like, war game series. But it could go off in a more comedic direction. It could go off in a more serious direction. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, the last two series I read from him were super long-running shonen series. And it's not like I wouldn't like a long-running period piece, but I don't know how explosive that would be, especially if these characters are, all historical figures that really existed. Like, if it is a situation where, if you look into it, you can kind of figure out not the ending, but, generally what has to happen. I mean, the slaughter of 1333 looks a lot like the laughter of, and then censored eyes, and then three cat mouths, which sounds like a really funny chapter title. I'm just saying, I could see it. I'm not gonna bet money on whether this is going to be a comedy series. I'm just saying, like, it could lean more comedic or more serious. Like, I also would say Nogami Nero and Assassination Classroom did the classic, more comedic at the start, and then as it ramps up, it gets more serious, slash we get more serious arcs. Yeah, like, I'm imagining a lot of, especially for the first part of the series, I think we're going to do a lot of, like, small skirmishes that are also a bit goofy, or a bit like, hey, here's this other kid, and, like, how the existing cast all plays off of them, and then we introduce another character, and then we see how they all play off of each other, and then we eventually ramp up to a real, like, liberation of a town or something. Like, I could see it being very character focused for a while. Or honestly, I could see the whole thing, like, this does, especially, like, the focus on, Takeuchi. Like, I really doubt we're gonna get, like, mini bosses. I think if they do skirmishes against other, like, small encampments and stuff, I don't think we're gonna treat them as if, the enemies there are, like, also named important characters. I feel like it is going to be more of a, like, by limiting the number of enemy commanders, they can make it feel more personal. Oh man, they are cowards for not just calling it the Slippery Prince. I would definitely read the Slippery Prince. Also, actually, if they didn't use the word samurai in the original Japanese title, that also makes me feel way more like he's going to be a ninja. Like, not just with the dashing, but with the hiding in the thing for 2 days, and, like, how instinctive it is. I can definitely see it being a, like, he is fighting tons of people in heavy armor, but he is more ninja-esque. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have some problems with that. At the very least, for Chapter 2, I will write down, like, a cheat sheets, just to make sure that I don't slip up too badly. I know how extremely frustrating it is to hear someone slip up the names constantly. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I guess I'll move on. I'm gonna try and not smack the mic over and over again. Sorry about that, by the way. Next, we have Undead Unluck, Chapter 48, A Story I Won't See Coming. Oh, my voice typing uh, took correct, or coming, and it read it as comma. That's what happened there. Also, Sean, If I kill that brat, then I'll have a seat higher than yours. Oh, this is, Unseen? Was that it? The one they were torturing down in South America. Ah, because he is Unshawn. Like, is he gonna... I mean, he can't kill Fuko, but, like, is this going to be a Fuko wakes up and stops him? Or is it a, like, she doesn't get out in time and she gets stabbed and then they have to take her to the hospital or something? Yeah, you're right. That has to be a third eye. Because, like, I was thinking that maybe his head was tilted a little bit. Or, when they were cutting him up, they also cut his eye or something. But no, that has to be like more in the middle of his head. Hmm. Perhaps it's like because he is unseen. Like, how do I put this? Maybe he conceptualizes his ability as like both making himself unseen and also being able to see things that can't be unseen. Or I said that wrong. You know what I mean. A while after I got serialized, I recalled those memories again. I thought about those two in their story and whether it was all true. So, so she's going to actually like confirm that Andy is real. Also, her memory has to be really good. Like if she had those memories, like if everything flashed through her head and she still like kept enough in her head to both write Yumi and also like have specific information like this. That's really cool. Like it is cool just knowing that he did get actual dojo training. Like that is why he is so good with a sword, as opposed to just he's really strong and he figured out sword moves on his own. Oh, he did it for Josh. Ah, it's probably better than not that they didn't, tackle Andy to the ground randomly while he had a sword in his hand. It's probably a bad idea. Yeah, I'd like to imagine that, like, this isn't that in addition to the memories all going through their head, that it is also these memories are separate from your usual memories. Like, they are fresher. It is easier to go back to them. I feel like that would only be fair. Oh man, everyone is horny for Andy. I mean, I can't deny it. I mean, I can't. There's nothing wrong with it. But man, everyone horny for Andy. He's so down with it. I mean, there's no reason why Andy couldn't have kids. Like, it feels weird to think of him as the kind of person who would father children and then, not be there for them. But at the same time, like, if the person he's with is cool with that, I guess that's fine. If you can outlive me, that is. So it is fair enough, fair enough. I was too entranced with the idea of Andy nutting inside of people to think about, that maybe he wouldn't want to. That's right, negators are always suffering. The same went on for all the others, too. Aw, those tears are so... Like, I can't believe how affected I am by that. Go back to chapter 29, page 19. Sure. Oh! Yeah, you nailed it. That's a familiar looking design. And that makes so much... Yeah, because the statement there was... Sorry, not looking. I keep on forgetting how tabs work. This is 48. Yeah, like negators are always suffering. That works really well as you're thinking of Andy as they say that, but it could also it is almost certainly both of them. Oh, that's so good. Okay. Oh boy, that's a lot of backstory. So we have Shin who lost someone. I feel like we may have even heard about that in the past. We have Top with someone with broken legs. Maybe someone that he this could either be the contrast of I have, the most leg power and you don't, or it could be I'm the reason why your legs are injured and I'm fine. Like I think that would actually play really well into his whole he has to break a part of his body in order to move super fast. If that is a psychological thing out of the empathy he feels for this person who can't walk. We have Billy. Not really getting a lot out of that. That's got to be Billy, right? I wouldn't be able to mistake that little fringe. So if someone's dead, and okay, it is 2 bottles of presumably hard liquor, one of which is most likely empty. So someone died and he's taking it really damn hard. And then we got Nico down here, which, we know so little about Nico. I mean, he's got the union thing burned onto his flesh. He's got some pills over here. It looks like he's not having a good time. Yeah, Nico is such a mystery. I really want to reread the series once we get Nico's backstory. Because we also have, baby Nico in the, as part of the support staff. It's something where there's a lot of little pieces here and there. And so I can't really attach myself to him. Because I don't quite have a grasp on what he's like. Apart from, just a little dickish sometimes. But he feels like a character where once we get the big reveal with him, everything that we've seen up to this point is also going to tie together real nicely, and I'm going to really like him. It could be under his skin. That would make sense. I was thinking of it as a like he was wearing it on a piece of clothing and then he was like electrocuted or like exposed to fire or something and it burned onto it. I also really like this narration because like Anno knows more than any like knows more context than anyone else. And in this, like, which is presumably their thought process, like Billy is still included. It is like how do I put this? This isn't a I really like the Union speech. It is a I really like negators. Like negators are always suffering, and even though they're constantly struggling, they still fought to kill God. Like it is this small almost word of God-esque statement of, don't completely hate Billy for what he's doing right now. Like they're like he is still ultimately trying to kill God just in a different way. However, if these memories are right, I unfortunately already know they'll be defeated by losing Andy and Fuko. So presumably this is the end of the current loop, in which Yuiz is dead on the ground, and presumably Victor is just staring up at God's annihilation, going like, "All right, let's do this one more time." It it's too small to be the sun. Because it seems like it's like parting the clouds themselves. Like it looks like this is a physical thing that is here. Now, granted, we don't know how the sun works in Undead Unluck, but I think we've like zoomed out enough to see that the sun is big. You raise a good point though. Like the melted buildings is a really big one, especially because I'm pretty sure I think that's been pretty consistent every time we've seen like the end of the loop, or when we've seen Victor near the end of a loop. I think it's ambiguous either way. Like, she looks very peaceful here, and she's got, like, just a tiny trickle of blood coming out of her mouth. So it could be and yeah, like, he is crying. It could just be that he saw her die and is now, looking down on the calamity to come. Or it could be this is the last time I can't let you do this anymore. I'm going to kill you here. And then I'm going to hopefully die as well. Now, losing Andy and Fuko, I mean, right now they could lose Fuko. It feels like the reason we started this, like here, is for it to be a like, they're going to lose Andy and Fuko, but at the very least I can save her now. Whereas this, I imagine, has to be a like not a we physically lose Andy, like Andy really dies for good, but more of a as a result of something happening, Andy ceases to be the dominant personality. Like, he decides to be Victor 24/7. Which in itself would be a really cool, like, I didn't really think about what I was saying until I said it, but the idea that, like, they'll be defeated by losing Andy and Fuko implies that Victor cannot beat God. Like, Victor has some wild stuff going on. He seems to be immune to both Uma and also negation abilities. Like, there's something wild going on there. But he isn't the secret key that you need to kill God. This very statement implies that they need Andy, not Victor, in order to do this. And, like, we already have the setup of, this time Victor finally believes that, like, Andy can evolve. He can surpass him. And if that's the case, then maybe he can do what Victor couldn't. Okay, so that's why Yumi has all these slight little hints as to the state of the world. If I were to recreate everything as is, then wouldn't it also halt any growth they're supposed to have? Driven by a range of thoughts and emotions, they're risking their lives, learning and growing. Be it Andy's past or the details behind Billy's betrayal, there's a meaning behind the process of learning, of knowing. I just need to pick the right stories to change the future for the better. That's so cool! Because that does completely fit with, like, this whole arc. And the idea that they can't just say, hey, Andy, here's a really cool super move you should try and figure out. But rather, like, I can lead you to these, to how these things are supposed to go, but you have to actually do it. Like, especially with the nature of negator abilities. I do imagine that if someone just, like, popped in and said, hey, by the way, you can do this with regeneration, or, with the power of undead, I don't know if that would actually help Andy, because it comes down to self-perception. Like, if Andy himself did not realize, or if he didn't start thinking of himself as, not being his brain, then I don't think he'd be able to regenerate from parts of him that are not just the brain. Or that, he would allow his brain to be annihilated and come back from something else. I really like that. Like, it's such a conceptual idea. It is the idea that, your perception of your ability changes that ability, and therefore, like, no one can tell you how to perceive the world. No one can say, hey, this blue is different than this other blue. You have to perceive it yourself, or otherwise it won't stick. So, my top priority will be the autumn battle. That's the branching point. A single solitary oversight. It's my one chance, so I'll be certain to change it. Oh, this is so cool, too. Like, not just seeing Anun at Shueisha headquarters, but seeing them here. Like, knowing that they have access to basically everything that the Union has, because they can't stop him. Now, what is this? What? Is this a Dragon Ball? What was this move? Like, if it is a hidden artifact that someone else would have found at some point, and they're instead taking it now in order to, like, make themselves visible? Because, yeah, it's nothing we've seen yet. And I feel it can't just be some sort of like, hey, in this fight, I'm going to use this orb that I introduced a few pages ago. Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, because that's not one of Autumn's powers. Like the books, like turning Andy into a giant book is just the Autumn, just Autumn's power. But turning into a soul is not that. So okay, yeah. Ah. Okay, so Andy, deadline now. God. Oh no, don't make it lewd. That's also so anticlimactic. Like, it's a really good villain move, but I really... So, Akira Kuno saw a future in which Fuko just straight up dies. And, it's anticlimactic. She gets stabbed by an invisible person, and then Andy kind of just has to do his own thing for the rest of the series. Also, that's actually a really cool design. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a character with a third eye where their third eye is, like, framed like that. That looks really good. But alright, so that's, like... It's not that the rest of their information is useless, but, like, this is the end of the story playing out precisely the way it was supposed to. Fuko is now finally on borrowed time, or on new time. I will say, like, of all of Andy's abilities, like, I like Bloodline as a, like, blood spray blast. But the ability to harden blood into a blade that looks like this, like, that's the only thing that makes me go, this is a little far. This is a little wild. How many other invisible negators are there? Or, like, negators where you can't tell where they are or what they're doing? I mean, there's a lot where I think you could, like, push it in that direction. Like, even, like, unbelievable. I think you could say, oh, it's unbelievable that you didn't see me coming. It's just kind of neat to have two characters with two similar but, distinctly different abilities. Like, two distinctly different power sets in the same fights. Ah, uninteresting. Yeah. I mean, I think it works well enough as a intentional anticlimax. As a, like, in the timeline before this moment, this rando out of nowhere was going to kill Fuko. Like, regardless of whether Andy was going to kill him right afterwards or not, like, that'd be enough to establish him as being a big character. Whereas in this timeline, in the timeline where everything works out, a lot better, he dies like a chump. I'm fine with that. I mean, his existence has been pretty sucky, though. Like, he got tortured a whole bunch, then he joined under, and then he got cut in half. This bit of his coat just kind of like floating in midair for a second is really cool. Like, it's just about to fall down, but in this brief moment, it looks like fantasy gear of some sorts. Yes, I'm glad his t-shirt is still intact. Good chapter. Like, I really appreciate how it is framed. Like, the whole thing takes place between Unseen about to stab Fuko and Unseen being chopped in half and not killing Fuko. It's good. Like, it isn't the best Undead Unluck chapter. Is it better than this week's Our Blood Oath? Yeah, it is. But I feel like, I don't want too much more on Aun. Like, I think they've been played out about as much as they can be. I think we're reaching the end of this character being extremely dope. And to be fair, like, how many limbs does Anaun have so far, like, right now? Still legs. Legs are still fine. But yeah, absolute perfect amount of backstory. And it makes sense at this point. Like, you know what? My time's done. I don't have to worry about Under coming after me because I can just stop being perceptible. I'll still be around. You never know. Like, yeah. They are the perfect exist for one arc character. And this, by their very nature, we don't have to worry about like we don't have to end the arc with a oh but they died the end because A, they no longer have perfect understanding of the future, so it's not that big of a deal if they don't interact anymore, and B, they have an ability that makes them basically invincible. I'm going to say that I don't think we're going to learn from them why their hair color changed. I think this is going to be a rule of three situation. I think that, like, Andy is the first one. He's the one who introduced the concept of, the transformation. But you could still read that as just, oh, Andy is, his regeneration is worse than Victor's. Therefore, his hair follicles can age. Anaun is the immediate, like, okay, like, they're not that old. And they had the big hair change, and it doesn't seem like that's dyed or for like any purpose. I feel like we're going to get a third negator, and that's going to be when Fuko puts it together. I mean, like, it's not like they don't have information that's relevant. Like, they also know all of Andy's backstory. But I think this chapter also states why they wouldn't say that. Like, if this is a case where Fuko and Andy should, like, learn that together. Like, if it wouldn't be satisfying, or if it's not a path for growth, if they're just told this. But yeah, honestly, Unrepair might be the one who reveals that, because, yeah, we don't know what hair color Unrepair has. But they could have also done the, like, hair change due to some sort of power. I mean, to be fair, that could even be something that Andy knows. We could get the reveal at some point where they meet another person whose hair did change, and Fuko says, hey, isn't it really weird that when you're not Victor, your hair changes color? And then he'll say, oh yeah, that's because of this thing that I knew this whole time. I just never brought it up, because why would I? I'm still 100% though. I am betting that the hair thing is extremely important. So I already ranked it. Let's move on. Right? Yeah. Let us move on to Dr. Stone, chapter 182. I can't get over this water pimpmobile. It looks so dank. I mean, it looks like a water tank mixed with a pimpmobile. It's so shiny. They're just painting it on. Or I guess rather they're like painting tar on and then just sticking Medusas all over the tar. Ah. I mean, between them using the whole ones to coat the ship, and then them also smashing tons and tons of them, like, it's so good. You know what? You're right. It's on brands. Okay, so, are we going to talk about that mechanism? I'm real grateful to have a whole mountain of samples to work with. I mean, they have the brute force thing. They can just keep on smashing them apart, but what can they learn from that? Like, it seems like all the mechanics would be way too tiny. And they have, they have one person back at, back in America who can look at this stuff and actually, like, properly disassemble all of it. But they can't really do that. It's like, whatever they can learn about the Medusa would have to be super duper simple. And yeah, fair. Like, Zeno's already foreshadowed that he wants to, if possible, get a Medusa working and use it to get the upper hands. It is a dead heat race. Like, it is a, like, it's a game of chicken, essentially. Senku and Zeno both have to try and figure this out. And, like, we know that Senku's not going to turn Zeno to stone. Like, there's no reason for that. But Zeno could betray everyone if he figures this out first. It looks like they're going to start, like, an evil shogi match or something. Like, they even have the boxes here, and they've got the Medusas in the middle. This has very big, like, Hikaru no Go vibes. Diamond hearts. Okay. Inside each Medusa is a blackened diamond. Right. So there's no regularity to the blackening. So it's not a, like, it always burns out the middle first. And it is charring it. I found a diamond that's not black at all. Ooh. So is it as simple as that? Is it as simple as just finding one that happens to be okay and plugging it into a Medusa? Kohaku's eyes are so broken. Like, everyone talks about her big thighs or her ability to jump or her combat potential. But I also sleep constantly on her vision because they brought it up super early and it's like, okay, that's pretty good. But no, she can stare at a Medusa and just zoom in and go like, oh yeah, this one has a perfectly clean diamond. It's so powerful. Kohaku, like, she's definitely got some sort of dojutsu. Oh, this tiny Kohaku smashing Medusas with her shield is so cute. The clean diamonds have cracks. The non-clean diamonds are all burnt out. Because also, like, they are all extremely, like, they all look exactly the same. Like, these aren't natural diamonds. They are manufactured diamonds that look exactly like this. I guess it must be just because of the sheer quantity of Medusas. Like, if the Y-Man or someone else is manufacturing these diamonds, then they probably had to use every single one. And just, in the hopes that all of these together, how do I put this? Like with electronics, especially with like RFID chips, there are a certain number of chips just straight up will not work, and you do just account for that. Like you just end up making a ton of product that will not work because you know that if 80% of your product works, you can then QC all of that, take out the 20 that doesn't work, and that's easier than that's easier slash more possible than making it so that every single one does work right from assembly. That also raises the question of how, like, where does the power come from then? Like, it seems like the diamonds are more like focusing chips, but then, like, did the duds like add their energy to the big, like, encompass the whole planet's blast, or like, did we have like 80% of them work, 20% of them not, and then like that 80% was enough to encompass the entire planet? I feel like for the sake of the plot, I think it has to be that the duds still have power in them and the non-duds don't. So that way, like, yeah, you can't just like swap the diamonds in. Or not swap them, but rather, make new diamonds. That's so tiny! This roadmap is so small! So you got alcohol, tungsten, filament, electricity, gold. Don't you need carbon? I feel like you need carbon in order to make a diamond, right? Why didn't everyone in the old world do it and rake in the dough? I mean, I know the answer to that one. It's because, of course, like, the diamond cartels are why diamonds are expensive. It's the same reason why, like, if you have a, like, a piece of valuable, like, family jewelry, and you try to sell it to a diamond person, they're not going to get very much. Because that is just a diamond out there. It ain't a, fresh De Beers diamonds. And, oh, that makes sense, too. Like, they can't make it in that exact shape, so they probably are going to just make a more, like, lab-grown blobby diamond, and then Joel just has to, like, shape it down. And this, I love this panel. This is getting back to, like, the ethos of Dr. Stone. That, like, yeah, Senku is a big genius, and he's capable of doing all this stuff, but the pros don't hold an exclusive patent on science. Anyone can do it, whether sinner or saint. Following the same steps yields the same results. That's the whole point of science. So it is the, like, let's have the brute force away team make a diamond with, instructions, but not anything else. I'm really excited. Like, my favorite parts of Dr. Stone are the, like, extremely tenacious parts. The ones where it is just making something happen through sheer effort. So you just need methanol. Does methanol have carbon in it? Yeah, you're right. I forgot alcohol itself has carbon in it. Oh, that's actually really cool. Like, yeah, they do have a truce with the kingdom of, like, the American kingdom, but it also makes sense that they wouldn't ask for help. Like, oh, I'm really happy. I'm really happy that this is going to be a straight up, just these guys managed to do it. Nikki is so good. Like, I legitimately can't believe how good Nikki is. Of all the girls in Dr. Stone, like, I mean, Kohaku's definitely number one. But Nikki is like way up there. She might be my number two. I really like Nanami, but Nikki is like, she's got everything. She is like Kohaku's had more focus. But Nikki, I think, embodies more of the spirit of Dr. Stone. Like, she's more normie, yet she's also like very beefy and strong, and she's got the tenacity. Like, she's got that taiju energy, but she's smarter. Burn to ensure the output is 100% alcohol vapor. They got a lot of science consultants for this. That's actually really surprising. Oh, so many batteries! I remember when it took them so long to make those tiny little battery packs. I mean, it is cool that they can use all this stuff from the kingdom, from the American kingdom. Like, that's definitely speeding things up quite a bit. But it's still so hard. Oh, this is a good Nanami panel. This is a big mood. I've been here. Accidentally completing the circuit where not intended is an incredibly common mistake and not something to beat oneself up over. It's wild that this is where we get Mecha Senku. This feels like a real, hey kids, we know this is gonna happen. We know you're gonna get frustrated about this one. Let Metal Senku tell you that this is okay. Ah, they're doing it. They're making them. Diamond acquired. That's so cool. Ah, like this is such classic Dr. Stone. I'm so happy. Ah, like I don't think I can fully express the nostalgia I'm feeling, but it's so satisfying. Like especially like this shot reminds me kind of the first time they make glass. Like when it's like I think it was Chrome's like dirty hands holding up the first like it was either Chrome or Senku. Like when they were making the first like glass pane for Suika's eyeglasses. Also, no Chelsea. You're right, no Chelsea. I didn't even think about that. I can appreciate why some other people might not like this, but no, this might be one of the strongest chapters for me personally. Like I think it's also a good mix of like pretty wild, like we are making a diamond from methanol. Like it's such a like if you didn't know this is going to be pretty wild. But it also is extremely straightforward. Like I think especially some of the later Dr. Stone inventions have been more in the weeds, like just because like a lot of the excitement of the early inventions were like, hey, this is actually deceptively simple, but it is going to take a lot of efforts to pull these things together, and some of these are going to be more easy than others. Whereas I think a lot of the later ones have been more out there in terms of how to do it, and therefore it's harder to conceptualize yourself doing it, or it's harder to like really put yourself in the shoes of the characters doing it. Whereas this feels like something I could do. I could definitely buy that. Like if we start or end a season with the giant pile and then this is a quick like, hey, so let's talk about how to deal with this pile. Like here's an easy way that we're gonna coat the boats. That's an easy way to make use of them. We're gonna smash them and like figure out what's inside of them. Yeah, like it feels very throwbacky in a way that I'm very much here for. Well, that's really all I have to say about it though. Like I'm going to just be circularly talking if I keep on going. So Dr. Stone, I've got to put it above our Blood Oath. I was considering putting it a little lower, but no, it's a chapter I really, really enjoyed. Yeah, and I will agree with you, homie. Like, I do think that like it is the curse of it being a science series. Like, there are only so many things they can do that with, and I imagine they do have some like setup for the future, but there's only so many like sideways ways to get to a new invention that would make sense in universe. And sometimes they have to do the here's an invention that's not quite that interesting of a journey to get to. Like it's more hit or miss than I would like it to be, but at the same time, I'm fine with it. Now let us move on to My Hero Academia, number 298, Sounds of Collapse. Oh boy, give me that recap. I'm surprised they got this much recap out of this chapter. I mean, to be fair, almost all of this is centered around the last page, but still. Oh no. MH fandom is so fickle. Still, I'm curious to see what she's like. I'm excited for what this chapter's gonna be. I mean, I'm not surprised there's already art for her, but I'm surprised that they like people immediately jumped to waifu. Like the only thing that's really that is striking about her is her hair, which is cool. But like there are other characters that have interesting hair. Ah, I'm a sucker for this. Like the specific comic trope of we're going to take this image from a previous issue and really zoom in on it, and you're going to see like all the the dots here. Like it's something I don't really see a lot in manga very much. I remember Naruto doing it pretty early with Gaara, but this is a like it always strikes me as being very Western comic. Like when you really get to see how like shaky the line work is and how like fuzzy it is, and it is like an intentional like we're doing the zoom in order to like give off that vibe. It does have you may be wondering how I got here energy. Okay, so while the hospital raid was happening, okay, so we're actually following. Yeah, okay. Ever since our holy war in Deka City, there have literally been two of me. Now, does he mean literally as in literally, or does he mean it as metaphorically literally? Like, I wouldn't be against him having just like a stand walking around that is always the big goopy energy. Yeah, you're right. Like, That makes more sense. I was about to say how weird it is that we're zooming in on twice. Like, I thought this was just a quick gag, maybe? But no, that makes sense. If it is literally twice made a copy of him. Yeah, so this is definitely a twice clone. That also makes a lot of sense as to, like, how he was able to balance both sides while, like, going harder and harder into the, like, the I keep on forgetting what they are. But yeah, like, while focusing more on this big invasion plan. Ah. We seek order without order, true freedom through liberation. The seeds are already sown. Okay, so 6 hours after the attack on Tartarus. So I guess we are just skipping it, right? Right? Oh, okay. God damn. Like, my brain froze for a second because I couldn't comprehend what was happening here. Like, I thought for a second these were all, like, different parts of Tartarus, but no, they're just going to every prison. All for One really doesn't know how to do it small. Or rather, he was doing small for a while in the series, and now I think he's kind of done with that. It seems like he's over. Through use of emergency aircraft that require an official biometric ID to operate, the escaped prisoners from Tartarus and near High Ends proceed to attack 7 other prisons, freeing additional convicts from 6 of them. From 6 of them, though. So they attacked one of them, and either no one escaped because the heroes stopped them, or they attacked it for some other reason. I mean, one of them could be a prison that only houses heroes, and so they just bombed it to kill everyone in it. I will never be able to wrap my head around Shigaraki's body with All for One's dialogue coming out of him. Like, the dissonance of imagining Shigaraki saying, "There, the groundwork is laid. What a thrilling day we've had." Like, I do love it. It is such an immediate revulsion in my body. I mean, it is. I feel like I bring this up constantly, but maybe I don't in Weekly Shonen Jump. It reminds me so much of Doc Ock in Spider-Man's body as the superior Spider-Man, saying stuff like, "the die is cast," and everyone around him just going like, "I guess that's what Spider-Man's like now." I remember him joking more, but I guess now he just kind of, like, says grandiose quotes and, has henchmen and stuff. This is fine. And now, would you good people be so kind as to stand guard while this body rests? Oh, I don't think we've ever seen that, but I am so in love with the idea of Spinner and Shigaraki bonding over gaming. I never thought I would hear Spinner say, "I got along more than I thought, bonded over gaming and stuff." But it makes so much sense. Like, Spinner is, like, we know he likes GTA. We know he's a gamer. We know for a fact Shigaraki's a gamer. Like, there's so much fanfic potential. I mean, I guess the potential already existed, but now the series is just straight up saying, by the way, that happened. That happened and we didn't get to see it. Oh, he looks so genuinely sad here, too. Like, it isn't a, "I hate you." It is just a, "You're not the guy I agreed to follow. You didn't make a single gamer joke." Okay. I mean, makes sense that he would put up a bit of a guard now. Like, these are people that he still needs to have around, and they are following Shigaraki. I think that's also actually a pretty strong statement. Like, up to this point, the League of Villains has grown together as, as a group. Like, before, they were kind of more separate, but now they all, like, I can buy that they all, at the very least, like, they care about each other to a degree. Like, I don't think Toya cares that much, or I don't think he cares as much as everyone else. But I think he would still, be a little upset if he saw Shigaraki get his head blown off. I think he's got to be physically there, right? We don't get to see it. But okay, it's time for Shigaraki to enter the Odin Sleep. Meanwhile, 2 days later. Yeah, home, I think that we're going to get I think we're saving that until we do a bit of decompression. Like, we're gonna have this, obviously, hospital scene. I think next chapter at the earliest, we're going to get the, like, by the way, Japan's kind of crumbling a little bit. Like, in addition to people having lost hope in Hero Society, there's a lot of villains out there. They've started to, form factions or something, and then we'll get a broad overview of, the big names to be worried about. Like, I think this works really well as just this is All for One's perspective. This is like, he's doing this because he just wants there to be chaos and for there to be, things that, to distract from his purpose. Whereas each of those villains, I think, would be better served if they have a chapter that focuses more on them. Like, you guys remember the chapter that came out when Trump got elected? Like, it was the twice focus chapter, where, like, we start on him, and they don't say it's twice, but, he wakes up, and there's crime happening outside, and he's walking around. It's, like, I think the first time we see the Hasakai, like, that arc, that chapter really hit me, and I think we could do a version of that. Like, I think we're really set for a chapter that goes back to that, but it's even worse, and there's even more, like, crazy faction danger happening outside. Yeah, like, I don't think you could do exactly that chapter again with another character. Because there's no one that we're also that attached to. Like, with Twice, it is also this, like, I don't know who this person is, but they have a really interesting view on the world that really contrasts with the previous arc. And then, we see that he's Twice, and it all clicks, and it feels like it makes sense. Whereas, we're also coming off of two pretty dark arcs. So I don't think we could do exactly that. Like, we can't do a tone shift to the darker. We've gone too dark. Ah, Prison Girl might work. Everyone's already latched onto her. Okay, looks like Bakugo's not dying. I mean, it's been 2 days, but still, he wasn't doing too good. Ah, this is Central Hospital. I think it is also kind of nice that we're going to get some damage on, like, how do I put this? Like, Bakugo and Deku have been pretty, like, asymmetrical in how much damage they've taken, and that is because, Deku's power involves destroying himself. But Bakugo's is also making enormous explosions, like, a centimeter away from his hands, or on his hands. Like, you'd think he'd have some singed palms at the very least. I think this definitely works as a, like, I'm worried because I got stabbed in the stomach, and that's gonna leave a scar, and, my body is starting to get a little weaker. How am I going to keep up with Deku on top of him having 7 quirks? How can I continue to keep up if my body's also not at 100%? No one really wants to talk about Sensei. Oh boy. Oh man, that is a look. Yoshi Doctor is so strong. Yeah. This might be a full retirement for Gran Torino. Whereas Aizawa, like, I think Aizawa is going to be firmly a teacher from now on. A teacher slash, like, he might be missing an eye, but he might have one eye left, so he could probably still help with, like, Aries' mentorship. Like, if someone needs him to negate their abilities, I think he can do that, but I don't know if he'll be ready to go out in the field and negate people's abilities in fights anymore. This panel is so strong. Oh, President Mike with the ponytail bun situation looks so good. This panel is peak My Hero Academia. Like, especially with the, you got the feet here. Like, the toes are so Horikoshi. And then you have Yoshi Doctor up here. It's, How can I live in a world where Rocklock saved their lives? I have to drop the bit about thinking that Rocklock died during the Hasakai arc. He's so important. Listen, if Aizawa wants to show feet, I am all for it. You're right. Show foot. But okay, how are the kids? I mean, I've just been assuming that the kids are all okay. Like, my main one was, I was scared Bakugo, like, not that he was dead, but that, he wouldn't be able to, like, stand up or something, or he'd need a lot of rehab. And to be fair, he might, but did any of the other kids get severely, really, really hurt off screen? I mean, Todoroki not looking too good. I wonder if he's gonna have worse burns, actually. Like, he has flame resistance, but at the same time, like, Toya's flames are so powerful. I like that canon. I'll accept it. Oh boy, that mob is... I didn't even think about that. That the mob is here mostly for Endeavor, which makes sense. I mean, he's the #1 hero, but still. Jeez. Is Endeavor even aware of the terrible state Japan's in right now? I don't think he's conscious. Come on, guys, slow down. I mean, it does work. Like, it does feel very realistic. That one is the root cause. His shining light beckons the dark. It precipitates our demise. I still can't believe this wasn't Shigaraki. I know that's such a weird take, but, like, the beard looked so much like Shigi's hair. Or his pre-ascension hair. I'm really happy we got to see Davi's dance again. It's so good. I mean, it does, yeah, it fits the monologue so well. Like, this is potentially the final form of that fire ability. Because Toya's body is one that is not this, like, there is no restriction on how hot he can make his flames. Like, his flames can destroy him, and he is completely fine with being destroyed if it means taking down Endeavor. It is like, that's as high as you can go with fire. I wonder if, like, we've sort of had this, like, at the start of the series, it was all ice. Mid-series, it's been a, like, I'm going to try and use my fire side. I'm going to try and get as strong as my dad using my fire side. It would make sense if it is a, like, Shoto has to use half cold, half hot in order to beat his brother. But at the same time, I wonder if we might just do a horseshoe back into pure cold as a, you are, you are the result of my dad's being an absolute piece of garbage, and I, like, not that I won't use my dad's power to fight you, but that, his eugenics campaign can't be what beats you. It has to be just the ice. Like, I don't know how I would personally want that to resolve. Oh, he's basically me. He's my dark mirror. Dad can't do it. I have to be the one to handle my brother Toya. Oh, his throat's burned. Yeah, like, I think it's gotta be Shoto using, like, all of half cold, half hot. It has to be fire and ice together. It just, it feels weird envisioning it as a, I mean, to be fair, I guess you do have to accept that it is just, even if Todoroki got this, the reason why Todoroki is the way it is because of his father's eugenics campaign. Like, he still has to accept it for what it is. In the same way that you can't, like, the series is definitely on a, you can't discriminate against people who have quirks, or, like, what you are given should not be what defines you. It is how you use it. And, certain quirks do, make it easier for you to be a villain or not, but it is still ultimately up to you. And society should make it easier for you to be able to make that choice, as opposed to pushing you in a direction where you have to use your quirk in order to, commit crimes. And yeah, you're right. Fumi's shirt is. I think Horikoshi just really likes drawing this shirt. Like, specifically the lines going down and the, yeah. Meanwhile, Bakugo, he's dead meat if he thinks he can die on me. He can't stop because he needs to see Deku. So, yeah, Deku is the one who's doing the worst. None of those limbs are looking good. Actually, I wonder if we're going to do, like, an internal arc for a while. Oh no, oh no. I'm scared because you're right. You're right. Oh no. This is exactly this chapter. Oh no. Oh no. I hate it, but I gotta say, I think that's where we're going. I think we're doing Coma arc. If only I had said this yesterday, I could have gotten those 158k views. But yeah, like, I think it would actually be really good if we did Coma arc for Deku. If the other kids are the ones, like we could spend a while dealing with the criminals who have escaped. Like, we can do here's how Hero Society is handling this, here's how Hero Society is also, like, reeling from everything that's going on and how it's being reshaped. We can have the kids, like, moving into more practical practice as they have to help, deal with everything going on in Japan. And then we could, like, either have those all be chunks, or we could cut between that stuff and Deku, in Coma worlds talking with the vestiges. Like, I would be very down for a arc where it is just Deku inside of himself and he can't, like, he just can't wake up, and they're like, hey, as long as you're in here, like, your body needs a long time to heal up, even with state-of-the-art technology. So while you're here, let's go over everything else. Like, ideally you would have a long time to unlock all these abilities, but you got to do them all right now. Like, I think we could do an Avatar with that. Oh, you're right. I could definitely see, like, if not the series itself, I could definitely see a fanfic or an alternate universe manga that starts with Deku waking up from his coma and the world is ruled by all for one. Yeah, my ideal would be one chapter now with the vestiges, then we do a bunch of world stuff, then we do another chapter with the vestiges, like, having moved forward in time. Like, I would want a couple chapters of the kids going from like, trying to help out to realizing how big the problem is to like maybe going back to like not internships, but like to the hero agencies that they wanted to apply to anyways and helping out there practically. And then like by the time Midoriya wakes up, everyone is more in practice now. Oh, you're right. Inko said specifically, protect my son. This ain't protecting her son. The series might end if she walks up to Deku and starts crying and she shoots a fountain of tears into his mouth and he drowns. Honestly, I'm so into the idea of this being a time skip because this is the perfect, like, main character is stuck in a location and they can't solve the plot. Slash, like, this is a very big hospital. Like, it is, I imagine this place is going to be very well guarded, so we don't have to worry about the villains, like, cutting his throat in his sleep. Plus, this would actually be a really cool, like, if we want to progress Deku and Bakugo's relationship further, like, we could have a year where Bakugo's out in the field, seriously trying, like, he's pushing himself to his limits, he's grown significantly as a hero. Meanwhile, like, Deku's been doing internal training, and he, like, either can access more of his quirks, or he's gotten better at them, but he doesn't have, like, he's lost all that physical, strength, just by virtue of being in a coma for a year. And so now he's got to train his way back up, and he's about equal to, if not weaker than Bakugo, even with his extra quirks. That would work. I think this is also a really good way to have, like, to allow Deku to, to level up over the course of an arc. Like, if we do a longer arc once he's woken up from the coma, and he's, like, not in his best physical shape, but he is, like, consistently working out and, like, not breaking his limbs, then we could have it be, like he is restoring his vessel to its former strength. And as so, like, he has to build his way up from 1% to 5% to 8%, all the way up until he's back to where he was, if not better. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, the big three being part of the top 10 would be really good. Like, especially if it is a year or two, we could definitely just, like we could complete the prophecy of Mirio being the number one hero. I'm legitimately so into that. Like, I am a sucker for the Hokage situation, or the, like, the thing in any shonen series of I want to be this, and then within the series someone else takes that title. Like, as opposed to it being a I'll eventually get there, and in the meantime that other guy's gonna warm my seats. I really like the idea of, someone else winning. Like, it would be too far if Bakugo was the number one hero when Deku wakes up. That would be a little wild. But I'm very down for it being Mirio, because that also means we could kind of, like, skip over the implications of how exactly Eri managed to get him right in that sweet spot of permanent power again. Oh, Mount Lady would be really good. Like, the idea of Mount Lady going from I'm a newbie at the start of the series to I'm dating Kamui Woods, we're a power couple, we're having a really good time, to now I have surpassed Kamui Woods and I'm in the top 10. Like, that'd be so cool. Like, of all the potential characters that, could still be in the, top 10, I think she also has the most, like, visual strength for being the symbol of peace. Like, Mirio feels like an obvious, like, next All Might, but I think he's too close to All Might. Like, he's too close to what a hero used to be like. I think that would be bad in this climate. Whereas Mount Lady is, like, very large, and she's always been around, she's always been trying to do the right thing. I think she would stand out more as, like, not number one, but as the symbol of peace, if anything. Yeah, oh, I forgot about Edgeshot, you're right. Like, Edgeshot's going to be real big here. I'm not super excited for the Todoroki stuff. Like, in general, he's never been my favorite character, but I am excited to see, like, how the series handles the, like, political downfall of Endeavor. Like, he's already gotten, he's gotten what he wanted of being the number one hero for a while, and now I think he understands why he can't be the number one hero, slash why he can't be the symbol of peace. Like, I'd like him to still have his, his hero agency. I'd still like him to be around. But I think this would be a really good, moment for him to step down as a big, visible hero who's on camera and who does things and who makes big statements. Like, that's never been what he was good at. And it shouldn't be what, they try to make him in series. Yeah, I think he's gotta just resign himself to being a businessman. I think he has to just run his agency. I mean, his agency's gonna have a rough time though, because they all have fireworks. Like after the whole Dobby thing, like imagine how many people are going to just say, "Hey, are like is Burnin your daughter? Like how many people in your agency are your secrets, castaway children?" Put Endeavor in an Iron Man suit so you can't see him, but he can still fight. But yeah, I will make the big statement of I don't think Best Jeanist will be the number one hero. It makes sense to me narratively, but I think it's too easy. It's too easy slash too obvious. I think it's going to be a like Best Genius was the one holding everything together during this period of instability. But if we do the time skip, I think we'll end it with, like even Best Genius may have been the number one for a little bit during the time skip. But when things are all settled again, it'll be Mirio or it'll be like maybe Kamui Woods. Like I think it'll be like someone surprising. Like I think that Hero Society is going to intentionally do a big shakeup of, the people who are around Endeavor are also kind of tainted. People are worried about these, the heroes who have built up a lot of money and a lot of power. We should probably shake it up and try some new faces. But yeah, that's basically all I got. Hopefully this is also the temporary end of All for One Shiggy. Not that I dislike it, but just like I'd be more happy with Shigaraki just in some sort of pod healing himself. Hmm. Okay. Let me add that to my notepad before I forget. I think that's actually a good idea. Top 5 moments of the arc. Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of retrospective stuff, and I'd like to, do that a little more. I'm a little worried that sometimes if I flippantly just kind of, fly through chapters, I don't really give them enough credit as like a full continuous arc, as a, big, thick elements. Because honestly, I don't know what I would say is number one. So many things happened. Like, looking back on it, I keep on conceptualizing, the whole Shigaraki fighting Deku situation as being like 2 or 3 chapters, but it was so long. And I remember, like, being really hyped for parts of it. I mean, Bakugo's body moving on its own. There's so much. I mean, just Shigaraki himself in his, like, Fey-like form feeling completely invincible. Mirko, oh my gosh. No, I'm not doing it right now. It's just, the memories are slowly, like, flowing into my brain. But yeah, oh my gosh, there's so much I want to do. By the way, if you want a quick Mirko fix, she is in Vigilantes in the current arc, and I think it makes sense. It feels canon. It is a situation where I'm like, yeah, I don't doubt at all that she'd be doing this. Oh, Crust! Okay, so, before my, let me, first of all, let's rank it. Thank you for keeping me on track. It's not as good as Undead Unluck. I mean, I think part of it is also just that it's little scatter shots. Like, it works. I'm happier that we got, the villain side of things and the hospital situation all in one chapter, that we didn't, like, stretch it out. I think, like, having another whole chapter focused on the villains would be a little too much, but at the same time, it doesn't feel cohesive. Yeah. Like, there's just something there that doesn't sit right, and I don't quite know what I would change. I'll put it above Dr. Stone. It was a good Dr. Stone, but now that I'm thinking on it a bit more, I don't know. It did give me that like supreme joy though. I'll put it below Dr. Stone. That feels better to me. Sometimes I've got to put it down and look at it and then think like, is that true? Is that what I want to say? I do have one more chapter. I have me and Roboco, which I've moved to back here. But yeah, so let's just do that, and then author comments, and then everyone can say that my rankings are wrong if they want to. But yeah, that's all I have to say about My Hero. Let us move on to Me and Roboco, Chapter 26. I can hardly drag myself out of bed when there's a combined issue. I mean, I want the artists to rest up, sure, but when they use the time to drink and sleep like this manga's artist does, is it really worth it? Oh, is this Rebecca from Me and Rebecca? Who is this lovely older girl? Is this Matsuo's sister? Because we've seen the entire gorilla family. It's Mako? Okay, so they can hide the lines. That's dangerous. That means anyone could be an order maid. I I mean, she's got the heights, but I thought we were doing another like let's build out the characters who are related to character situation. But okay, mods in Roboco. Order maids can have mods, my man. I'm surprised that they let you mod the lines off. Like I can understand like covering it up with makeup, but oh no. Wait a minute, that is just makeup. So, wig, concealer over the eye lines, school uniform. Is that a mod? Like, when they said mod, I was imagining it as a, like, you unhook part of the body and you plug in a different parts or something. But she just changed clothing and put on concealer. This is strikingly human. I mean, yeah, you're right. I guess, yeah, to be fair, painting a car... That's the thing, though. I wouldn't say that painting a car is a mod. Like, I wouldn't say my car is modded because it's a non-factory color. I can understand where Novo's coming from. That does feel like it's not that I'm against like androids that look like humans. It is the fact that we've already set up the lines as a thing. Like, as an obvious, people want the lines there. Like, it is an obvious signifier that this person is an order maid. In that case, it feels weird concealing that. Oh no, you're right. I mean, none of these boys would do that. Maybe Bondo would. Like, yeah, I don't think his friends would sneak into an R18 movie using an order maid, but Bondo might. Aw, she looks so happy hearing them compliment her. Ah, they're so wholesome. How many times can you do this gag? That's the thing, though. I'm not complaining about it. It's not running, like, the charm isn't running out to me. It is still really good. You could just be encouraging like normal people, but thanks, guys. Oh boy. I mean, we know Roboco has body image issues, like legitimately. So this might be a bad thing to bring up to her. I can see her going a little mod crazy. Let's put some custom mods on me and give those friends of yours a real shock. He forgot she was an order maid. I mean, fair though. Like, she definitely seems like she's not a normal order maid model. And yeah, to be fair, this isn't a mod in the sense of like, like swapping the arms out or anything. It is just clothing and stuff. I might look so different that you might not recognize me either. Oh boy. She seems really confident, which means this ain't gonna look good. Yeah, I didn't think about it until right now. I mean, she can remove her arm and there's a laser cannon in there, so she's gotta be a robot at the very least. I was about to say, what if she's just a human who paints on the order maid lines? But she's gotta be at least partially non-human. I mean, she's done a lot of things that can't be done by humans, never mind. But yeah, this is just Roboco with a wig. If you were walking around and you saw a panty flash from a high school girl and her panty said high school girl, would you be more sus or less sus? I do like this struggle though. Like, that it isn't a, oh no, I'm really upset, like, I don't like that she doesn't look different. It is a, I want to surprise them, but I know they're not going to be surprised if they see this. Like, this is for her sake, and also to make the joke maybe work properly. You have that aura that makes everything so bright and vivid when you're around, and you just can't hide it. Ah, yeah, I mean, Roboco has a sister who also looks very off-model, so something's going on there. There's some secret lore that we may or may not ever learn. But okay. Let's try these extra parts. Oh no. Oh no. This is the Alita Battle Angel eye situation. This is a real, don't install these eyes if the rest of your world doesn't look like these eyes. Like, that is I like Alita Battle Angel a lot. I think that is a really good adaptation. But I do think they should have given more characters the big CGIs. Like, the problem to me is not that Alita looks weird. I think she looks good. It is that she's like this. Like, everyone else around her has normal human eyes, or they're just straight up more robot-y. But she's the only one with the big eyes. Oh no, her personality changed too. Oh no. I think this also raises the question of where did these parts come from? Because these aren't like generic order-made parts. Bondo didn't order these. Like, Roboco came with these spare parts. Whoever made Roboco was like, yeah, you need to have the big Alita eyes and you need to have the pervert face. I mean, I'm glad that we're not seeing how she takes off her face and puts these ones on, though. That I think that'd be a step too far. You ever lick the used chopsticks from someone else's cup noodle? Delicious, bub. This is a cursed Roboco. Please, no. Please stop. Next off the perfect me. Oh no, she's going too far. I mean, he did invite them over, so did she come up with something that he likes? Or did they settle for this is definitely different? Huh. I don't think she's gonna look Roboco shaped at all. Because I think like that is the gag here of just even if you change her outfit and her hair, like it's still obviously Roboco. We've already done like Slim Roboco when she doesn't have, when she uses up too much energy, and I don't think they'd reuse that. So I think I think we're going to do a Frankie from One Piece situation. I think it's going to be a like she's got really big arms and like maybe bigger legs, maybe smaller legs. I think it's going to be a like this isn't Roboco's silhouette. Like I think we're going to get a big reaction face of who is this? Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Incredible. No, I don't I mean, this isn't Roboco shaped, but how did this happen? Oh no. Oh, and that's what so Bondo presumably was just crying the whole time. How did this happen? There is a bigger leg. I kind of got it. I see she labeled her knee on her own head to make you understand that this is the knee. She did go full Nappa knee. I guess it does follow on from this. Like one look at those knees and the jiggle be up. What is this? They look so distressed. That was Roboco. Oh no, what happened? In pursuit of her true ideal of beauty, Roboco decides to live as a knee. No, what does that mean? You're right, what does that mean? What is living as a knee? As she went on, she started pursuing beauty, but somewhere along the way, she lost track of what beauty was, and she got so exhausted trying to figure it out that she decided to live on as a single knee. It's been 30 minutes! This was a 30-minute skip from a pervert Roboco to I will live as a knee. What in the hell? Novo, you do you. I'm not going to shame anyone for their likes or dislikes, but I'm going to say this is not my... It might be my top 10 Roboco forms, but it's not above her normal design. Are you lonely too? Was this a, my knee is lonely, so I shall become a knee? She's psychic! Did she ascend? I guess she did ascend! Love, nature, how lovely. Okay, so she's reached like beauty nirvana. Next, I will merge with other order mates to become the knee of the earth. Okay, so, I mean, Roboco is always like 5 seconds away from the end game of the whole series. It's such a... The concept of I will merge with other order mates is such a casual drop here. Oh no, is she gonna fuse with Mako? Come, it feels great being one with knee. The singularity. I love it. In order to get old Roboco back, you've got to reject a perfect knee Roboco. This is not how Cell worked, but I'm willing to give it a go. Oh, the Roboco is so charming. You're so fetching and amiable. She's so transparent. I can't get enough of how eloquent girl is. It's so wild. Oh no. Oh boy. This flat top does not look good on her. Okay then. We're leaving it as she has a flat top. Good chapter. Weird punchline. But good chapter overall. I mean, we got quite a few new Roboco forms, and plus we have the earth-shaking reveal of they can just cover up the lines, which is going to haunt me now. I mean, it is a reverse Mashal. Like, Mash from Mashal does just paint on a line, and that is equivalent to, the natural lines that people are well, not natural lines, but the lines that people are given when, they're babies. I mean, I guess this is the final stage of Shonen Jump. Like in the same way that post Doctor Stone, series after series keep on trying to put the line on people as a like this is just an affect of our character design. Every series since Doctor Stone, including Doctor Stone, has also had a way to make the characters stop having the lines on them. I mean, except for Mashal. Mashal has not done that yet. Like we haven't had a, you know, I was a second liner or a third liner, but one of my lines has been removed. But I think we're getting there eventually. Mm. Oh, they have. I gotta catch up on Mashal. It'll take me like 2 minutes. It'll be fine. Anyways, that's me and Roboco. It was a pretty reference light chapter. Like apart from the whole cell thing, it was mostly just a like in-universe logic chapter. Which is pretty good. I feel like it's squarely in the middle here. Like it was better than our Blood Oath, but it's no My Hero Academia. Didn't even name drop Nappa. I mean, at some points, like children are going to forget what Nappa's knees were like, and they're going to just think of it as Roboco knees. I mean, I think it's gotta be when Super comes back. Like, I feel like the Nappa knee thing has been a seed to do Dragon Ball content eventually. But if, like the Super manga is still coming out, but like the manga seems to be a lot less popular than the Super anime. I think when the anime debuts, we're going to get a lot of actual Nappa jokes. Roboco Nappa, my favorite ship. Anyways, that's me and Roboco. Let us move on to the author comments. I mean, there's no reason for Nappa to come back in Super 2. I mean, we saw him in the Broly movie because that was a big, during the whole like flashback / past arc of the movie. So it depends on what the series does actually, because original Super did do recaps of the first two movies. It would make sense if they did a Dragon Ball Super Broly recap arc, but no one liked those. Is the thing. Those arcs were bad. Is the problem. And I like even the like Captain Ginyu returning thing in the Resurrection F arc, like that was fun, but it wasn't good. So as much as I would be kind of down for a like if Super comes back and they do a Broly movie arc and they start it with a big flashback story arc and then we get a little side story with Nappa, I wouldn't be against it, but I don't know if that's what people want from Super. Yeah, it would like cement his status as Prince of All Saiyans. Because he is like blood related to most of the Saiyans that exist right now. Like if you like Tarble is canon, he's out there somewhere. And then you have his kids. Actually, no. I forgot that Goku has 2 kids. So I guess it is kind of evenish. And then now we have Broly. I mean, I think that is because like Vegeta stopped being part of Frieza's army when he killed Nappa, or maybe he was never part of Frieza's army. Because I don't remember if the Namekians that Vegeta killed came back or not. I remember that I feel like that was actually a plot point. I might be confusing that with in one of the later arcs when he came back because they said only bring back good people and he came back. But there's technicality in there somewhere. Oh no, Yusei Matsui's already giving up his laurels. He doesn't get to sit on the fluffy cushion of being a returning big name mangaka. He's saying outright, no, I'm gonna be like all the commoners. Just treat me like I'm just serializing a series like any other person. I would never do that. If I was running a series in Jump and I had previously run a series in Jump, I would come in and say, treat me as if I am a god. I am also going to be putting this out every other week, maybe once a month. When I think of sushi, I think of corn mayo, tuna mayo hamburger, salmon cheese, shrimp cheese, and lastly udon. Oh boy, this is a big Hajime Komoto comment. I don't know what this means. I'm sure the kids are loving this one, but boy, I don't know what this means. In my guts, I am now starting to regret what I just said when I said, oh, I should probably catch up on Mashal. No. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. I found 1,371 yen while cleaning my room. It reminded me of Dragon Quest. I rarely ever find money in my room anymore because usually, like, if I have change and stuff, I either put it in my piggy bank or if it's like a loonie or a toonie, I'll just spend that outside. So I rarely have physical coins around. And that does suck a little bit, because now when I'm cleaning up, it is just me getting rid of dirt, as opposed to potentially finding new treasures. I mean, at least we can know now that Horikoshi isn't going to starve. He's got $13. He can survive. I made a real diamond at Genki Ichioka's Genki Lab. I feel rich. Was this chapter just an ad? Oh, actually, I've heard people talk about this. This is a TV show, right? Was he on a TV show? Because that's some good cross promotion. Like, I imagine any series in Japan trying to get kids to learn more about science is definitely like they want to do a Dr. Stone crossover, or they want to get the creators of Dr. Stone on. My excuse is that I need the events during the holidays to reset myself. Oh, did they cut away from the Shibuya incidents? Like, I'm assuming he's saying this because in series he did a small holiday arc. Okay, never mind. Shibuya incident's never gonna end. It's ending next week! Oh man. I finally made an authoritative statement about the Shibuya incident, only to have it be the one time I could make it completely wrong. I could definitely get that from this week's Sakamoto Days. Like, the mangaka was having a really fun time drawing that roller coaster. Volume 2 will be released on February 4th in Japan. There will be more special bonus illustrations than the first volume, supposedly. I feel like we're not going to get any more bonus illustrations. I feel like it's going to be the illustration at the end of each volume, or each chapter, and then a 2-page omake at the end, and then blank pages. My uncorrect is evolving as I learn new, better ways to be wrong. Yeah, these were not good comments. I've noticed a trend as of late in that the first half of the author comments tend to be like things I'm usually pretty into, and then everything down here is just kind of like, eh.
Said that always, every time.
Every time?
Almost every author comment you say that. Say it's a new thing that you have started
Noticing.
It's
new every week. I mean, it really is just like this is the same they format this in the same way as the table of contents in Japanese Jump. And this, more so than people saying that, you can tell what the popularity of each series is by the table of contents ranking. Like, that is wrong, but reading the comments themselves makes me think that it's right. Because I think if you are a good mangaka, you should make good mangaka musings.
Again, you have said this so many times. Exactly that.
Do I say this that often?
Very often.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, I've got to cut it off before I dig myself into a deeper hole.
You didn't rank the author comment comments.
Oh, no, I won't. I will rank the author comments themselves, though. It's a solid at the bottom. Top 5 moments of the arc next week. I didn't specify which arc. I should probably just say MHA before I personally forget what this meant. And that is it. Thank you all so much for watching. By the way, Sakamoto Days is on thin ice. I'm gonna say it. Sakamoto Days, not the best. Not super into it. I liked this week because there was a bunny outfits, but apart from that, it's been pretty meh. But yeah, like, we can talk about it on the server. Plus, like, with the new our Blood Oath ending, there's a lot of slots opening up that I can slide new series into if necessary. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. Bye for now. Yeah.